You mentioned Ron Simmons. You, Godfather, D'Lo, Rocky, Ron. What an underrated group. And I'll tell you, I told you before we clicked record. I've known D'Lo before he was D'Lo. I had him on the show, and he made such an unbelievable point about the nation. He said usually when a group breaks up, let's say it's five guys, two guys stick around, three leave.
Right.
All of
You
you
never hear
guys,
from them again.
yeah, and there's usually one star. Every one of you guys had a run and a Hall of Fame run. Every one of
Right.
you.
Well, D'Lo will tell you next time you talk to him that I've been lobbying for him to be put in the Hall of Fame as an individual. But even if he's not put in the Hall of Fame as an individual, uh, the Nation of Domination should be put in the Hall of Fame. Um, it's um, the only two factions in the history of wrestling that can remotely close to rival the Nation is DX and the Horsemen. That's it. No disrespect to NWO and all of that. A lot of those people came and failed and fizzled out, or they was good and they went into it and they were never the same again. They were watered down versions of themselves. In the Nation, we were superior. We worked with DX every night. There were pay-per-views and shows where the whole show was Nation matches. Me and D'Lo in a tag, Ron Simmons in the main event, Godfather versus you name somebody, but it was more Kama, or it was uh, he had his run. Um, Golly, not I'm thinking the Soul Taker, but
Papa Shango?
Papa Shango. Like everybody had something, and when I left the Nation, I did the Sexual Chocolate thing. After Sexual Chocolate, I legitimately came the strongest man in the world again. And then the rest of my, career is history. But um, D'Lo was able to have an individual run, being a European champion, and being able to elevate a title that really didn't have any cliche at all.
Right.
And for years, and could work with anybody from the top of the card to the bottom of the card. And everybody know what the Godfather became. And Ron Simmons is Ron Simmons, um, Hall of Famer, world champion. Um, and you look at The Rock, and The Rock became the epitome of the industry. There's nobody higher than him. And when people say, "Well, you got to give it up to DX," you know, yeah, DX was awesome. I trivialized the DX. I had my best time in my most important um, tag matches with Road Dogg and Billy, and some of my best singles matches with X Pac. And um, to be on a card where me and D'Lo was against the Outlaws, Godfather was versus X Pac, Rock and was against Ken Shamrock, Ron Simmons was wrestling against Undertaker or Bret Hart or whoever was on top at the time. Like we dominated the show, and DX is the only other faction that ever was able to do that. Um, and now you have Triple H and Shawn Michaels, who are at the hierarchy of pro wrestling. Road Dogg is working in production and a lead agent. Uh, Billy is doing Billy things over at NXT and still looking like he's 32 and he's 60. Like, what the hell?
Yeah.
it's like DX is different. And, and I respect that crew. And that's the only crew that I can mention with us. I have nobody have more respect for Ric Flair and Arn Anderson, Tully than I did. But J.J. Dillon was a manager. He wasn't a wrestler. He
And you
might have
talked about
been when he was younger, but DX and the Nation is it.